Hey everyone, it's Jeremiah from Alamance Battleground, and I'm here with the final installment of the Tryon's March real-time video series. Today is June 19th, and I'm here in Hillsborough, where 249 years ago today, Tryon's militia marched to this very spot to carry out the executions of Regulator prisoners. Over the past few days, Governor Tryon has been engaged in the trials of 14 Regulator prisoners captured at the Battle of Alamance and afterward. And at the end of those trials, 2 men have had their charges cleared, and the remaining 12 have all been found guilty. Of those 12, 6 men will have their sentences sent to the king to be decided at his pleasure. This is a way for the king to show mercy, and this is essentially commuting the sentences of those 6 men. According to the campaign journal, this is done at the behest of the army, and it's the officers of the army who select the men who receive this privilege of having their sentences sent to the king. And those men include James Stewart, James Emerson, William Brown, Forrester Mercer, James Copeland, and Harmon Cox. So those men will not be hanged in Hillsborough. They are able to go free. That leaves 6 men who will still have their sentences carried out today. We actually don't know the names of all 6 of those men. 2 of them still remain unidentified, but we do know the names of Enoch Pugh, Robert Mattier, Robert Messer, and Benjamin Merrill. Those 4, along with the 2 others, are marched with the militia up to this spot on the outskirts of town, just outside of Hillsborough. The militia is formed in a hollow square, and they march around the prisoners to help keep a crowd of people from getting too close to them. And they march to this spot, which only a few days ago had been a wooded lot, but Governor Tryon orders the pioneers of the army to clear this area and to construct gallows. So that shows that Governor Tryon is involved in the planning. Some would say too involved. In fact, in a letter that is written in the summer of 1771, an anonymous open letter that is highly critical of Governor Tryon, the author, who identifies himself as Atticus, criticizes the governor for the role that he takes in this hanging that takes place on June 19th. And in it, he quotes, "The governor's minute and personal attention to these particulars left a ridiculous idea of his character behind him, bearing a strong resemblance to that of the undertaker at a funeral." And this is just one of several accounts that detail the hangings that take place here on June 19th. And in some of these accounts, we do have quotations and even speeches from the men who are hanged on this day. So for example, Enoch Pugh is reported to have said, "Our blood shall be as good seed sown on good ground, which ere long will produce 100-fold." And Benjamin Merrill's entire gallows speech is published in a newspaper in August of 1771. It's a very interesting document to look at. The tone of the speech is very contrite, and Benjamin Merrill expresses remorse for his actions in the Regulator movement. He also says that he has been misled in supporting the Regulators, and his main concern as he gets to the gallows today is not for his own well-being. He's prepared to die, and does say that in his speech. He is most concerned about the welfare of his wife and his children. He is very fearful that after he dies, his family will become destitute. And so in his speech, he is quoted saying, "In a few moments, I shall leave behind me a wife and children to a wicked and censorious world, and entreat it as a favor. No reflections may be cast on them on my account. And if it is possible, shall esteem it as a bounty, if you, gentlemen, will petition the governor, council, etc., that some part of my estate may be spared to them. It will be an act of mere charity, though I have forfeited the whole by the laws of God and man." And that tone is very interesting to consider and important to consider, because in 1 month's time, Governor Tryon will write a letter to Lord Hillsborough in England, and in it he will discuss Merrill's death and says that Merrill, quote, died under a thorough conviction of his crime and the justice of his sentence, and addressed himself to the spectators to take warning by his suffering. And he does that in the letter to Lord Hillsborough, which also recommends that Benjamin Merrill's property not be confiscated, but be given to his wife and family. And Governor Tryon does that because of the contrition that Benjamin Merrill exhibits in his gallows speech. And so in doing that, Benjamin Merrill is, on the last day of his life, able to secure his family's future by the actions he takes on the gallows. So after the hangings are completed, the militia goes back to their camp, and Governor Tryon assembles his officers one last time to share with them news that he has kept secret for some time now, that he has been promoted to the governorship of New York, and he is going to leave North Carolina immediately to go to New Bern, to go to a ship that is waiting for him to take him up to New York to take that post. And so he leaves the army in the command of his officers, and tomorrow, on June 20th, the army will continue their march east, and those county militias will go back to their respective county seats where they will be disbanded. And for the first time in 3 months, those members of the militia will be able to go home. And that essentially, decisively ends the Regulator movement. And North Carolina is, to quote one letter, is restored to peace and tranquility. And it effectively ends the Regulator movement. And that's where I'm going to leave you all with our Tryon's March real-time series. This is the end of the campaign, but one of the things that I had hoped for with this series of videos was to show just how far out the effects of this campaign radiate from May 16th and the date of the actual battle. And it is important to note that this campaign is only 3 months in a story that begins in 1765 and continues on for 6 years. So I would encourage all of you to look into this story more. Go to our website, go to our social media at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Be sure to follow us as we share more of these stories around the Battle of Alamance and the Regulator movement. One final note before I leave you with this video. This coming year is going to be the 250th anniversary of these pivotal moments of the Regulator movement, when it reached a fever pitch and really became a crisis in North Carolina that led to this campaign and the Battle of Alamance. And as I'm filming this today, we are still under social distancing restrictions, so we're not sure exactly what these programs are going to be able to look like, but we will be commemorating the 250th anniversary of these moments and these historical events, starting in September with the 250th anniversary of the Hillsborough riot and moving on again to the Battle of Alamance. We'll be sharing new stories, new perspective. I'll probably be making some new videos for you, so I hope you have enjoyed these. It has been a privilege to make all of these for you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again sometime very soon.